Where are other members? Yeah. Great. Good. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the award ceremony of the Historic Preservation Commission of Montclair. It's really great to see everyone here tonight. I'm glad everybody was able to take their boats out and make it here. I know it was pretty daunting. I'm Kathleen Bennett. I'm the chairperson of the commission. And first of all, I would love to and like to thank my colleagues who have worked really behind the scenes, and we spend a lot of time doing the workings of the Montclair Historic Commission. On my left, I have John Reimnitz. We have David Greenbaum. We have Carolyn Kane Levy, and then Jason Hyndman. So without their help and their support, we would never be able to do half the things that we do tonight. And it is very gratifying to see everyone here. To see almost a full room for a Historic Preservation Commission meeting is amazing. And that just goes to show me, and I think my colleagues, that historic preservation is very important in Montclair. We did suffer a defeat this year, but there's lots of things ongoing that have gone positively this year. And I'd like to mention that when I woke up today and I read my horoscope said today, the way it goes with teaching and influencing is that not every exercise is going to be memorable. Progress is often imperceptible. Trust that development will happen in increments, each moment building on the last. So I think that what we've done just in the past few years that we've been working together up here has really been a positive, really positive for Montclair, and it's really gratifying to see everyone here tonight. So what we'll do is we have an order. My colleagues and I will present the awards. We'll ask everyone to come up, accept their award, and then if you'd like to say a few words, if you keep it brief, that would be great. And then we'll ask you to take your seats, and at the end we'll ask you to come back and take a picture of everyone. And I'd like to mention that this is being streamed live on Channel 34, so you could go home tomorrow and watch yourselves on TV then. So we shall begin with Bricks and Mortar Preservation Award, and John Reimnitz will be the award.
I'll do the first one. This award goes to 20 Clinton Avenue. The owners and architects of this project first came before this commission in November of 2017 with an application to build a new entry porch to their house. The reason for coming before this Historic Preservation Commission is that their building resides in an historical district designated by the state of New Jersey as the first residential historic district. Clinton Street is also listed in the inventory of historic streetscapes by Preservation Montclair. I want to commend the owner and the architects with working with the Historic Preservation Commission. We see many residential projects come before us as porch additions and alterations. I think this, in the couple of years that I have been on the commission, is the best example of what can be done. I think it is one of the best executed. It's one thing to show us plans and explain intentions, and it's another to accomplish these. And that's due in large part to the good work of the contractor. This is a good example of adding value to a building while respecting its past. So I have 3 awards here. One to the homeowners, Tom and Elizabeth Thomas, who can't be here tonight. One to the architect, Francis Klein and Associates. And one to the contractor, Stoddard Associates, Inc. If you could come up, I'll pass out the awards.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, good job. That's great. Very nice, very nice.
Should I take John? That's easy.
Yeah, sure.
And
That's
Gary's?
that. And Gary's not here either? Okay. You get all 3.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a
Good.
lot.
Good evening. My name is Jason Hyndman, Vice Chair of the HPC, and I'll be presenting the next award, which is also a Bricks and Mortar Preservation Award for residential property, actually residential properties. It's going to 21 Plymouth Street and 41 Plymouth Street. And these were projects conducted by Henry Lidka of Developer Sustainable Sanctuary Homes LLC and Paul Sionis of Sionis Architecture PC. We're recognizing these two great individual and entities for the work that they did, recognizing and really rehabilitating two vintage Montclair homes, one from the 1890s and the other from 1910, and they've been renovated and rehabilitated into multifamily dwellings. Paul and Henry have adaptively reused two prime examples of Montclair's architecture. Restoring and improving the two exteriors has reinforced the domestic character of Plymouth Street, reminiscent of the time when single-family homes were lining the street. They removed aluminum siding, improved the driveway, added substantial landscaping, and removed a medical office space, which has vastly improved 21 Plymouth Street. The work on 41 Plymouth Street maintains its colonial craftsman stucco exterior while offering modern amenities in 2 units. This type of adaptive reuse is encouraged and ensures that Montclair's streetscapes will maintain their attractive charm and character. Henry and Paul, if you could come up and receive your awards. Congratulations.
I just want to say what a pleasure it is working with Henry. Everything he does is first class. Tries to do a really nice finished product. It's really terrific. Thank you.
Well, this wasn't planned, but I'm going to thank Paul because he really did the hard work, especially on 21 Plymouth, where it was certainly a bit of a dog, had been over-renovated about 10 times beforehand, but he somehow made it pretty in the end. So that's all to Paul. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, next up is 222-230 Bloomfield Avenue. The owners and architects of this project first came before the commission in December of 2017 with an application to rebuild the existing facade of their commercial building. The reason for coming before the Historic Preservation Commission is that their building resides in the Town Center Historic District. 222-230 Bloomfield Avenue is also recognized in the 2004 Town Center Historic District Nomination Report as a harmonizing building. According to municipal tax records, the building was constructed around 1929. Harmonizing buildings are those buildings dating from a period of 1865 to 1937. I want to commend the owner and architects for working with the Historic Preservation Commission. I think the team did a great job, starting with an effort to strip back layers of previous construction efforts. In doing so, they uncovered large portions of the existing facade, the original existing facade, which was made using terracotta. Terracotta is a material not used much anymore on the outside of buildings, but at one time, New Jersey had the largest concentration of terracotta manufacturers in the country. These companies operated from about 1854 to 1944 and supplied materials to many buildings in New York City. This building is an example of some of those materials finding their way to Montclair. I have 4 awards here. One to the owner, W.E. McLeod Holdings, LLC. One to Thomas Reynolds of Green Stories, LLC. One to Mark Bess of MBA Architects. And finally, the last award is to Jeff Rush of American Terracotta, LLC, who did great work restoring the existing terracotta and providing new pieces to add to the facade. So if you'll come up, I'll distribute those awards. Good job. know it was an effort. I know it was an effort to make it all happen, but you guys did a great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, there you go. Can I pass on these others too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. Then the next award is going to be given to a project, a non-residential project at 237 to 249 Lorraine Avenue, the Warner Building. Property owner Michael Pavel and architect engineering firm Jarmel Keisel will be recognized for their restoration of this harmonizing building in the Montclair Historic Business District. What started out as a contentious project ended up as a lovely restoration of the historic building and a sensitive new addition to the rear, which retains the historic character while providing modern amenities. And so, who's here from? Great. You're with Jarmel Keisel. We'll take them both. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, the Bellevue Branch Library. The Bellevue Branch Library, designed by Francis A. Nelson, a Montclair resident working in the New York architectural firm of Nelson and Van Wagner, is a Carnegie-funded library dating from 1913. It is listed on the New Jersey and National Registers of Historic Places and the local historic district of Upper Montclair Business District. In 2016, the Montclair Public Library decided to repair the historic Astra windows, which are a character-defining element of the building. Working with Mary Delaney Krugman, preservation specialist, these patented self-balance windows were repaired and returned to working order. Deltec was selected as the restoration contractor because of their expertise with rehabilitation of historic windows. Ms. Krugman and the product team of Morse Associates of Potoskill, New York, and DBC Preservation Architect of Glenmont supervised the entire restoration. Historic paint symbols from the building were uncovered, and the Astra windows were returned to their original condition. The finished product has enhanced one of the most important buildings in the Upper Montclair Historic District. And I would like to mention that Ilmar Vanderer, a member of the Montclair Public Library Board of Trustees and an alternate for Honorable Robert Jackson, the mayor, will be accepting this award for the library. So please come up. So, let me just see. I have all these. Congratulations. Thank you very much. So, Delta? Can you take that? Okay, and then Mary, and the library, and DBC?
I can take that one.
Yeah, and Morse Associates. Thank you very much. Would you like to say something?
Yes, just
Sure.
brief words. Thank you very much for this wonderful, thoughtful, deeply appreciated recognition. This project would not have been possible without the exceptional efforts of Montclair First Ward Councilor William Herlock, who spearheaded the funding process, and Library Director Peter Coyle, who expertly guided the project to completion, and my wonderful Montclair Public Library Board of Trustees colleagues, including the distinguished Diana Lennon, who's here with us today, who steadfastly supported the project. In addition to being, as Kathleen mentioned, an original Andrew Carnegie Library, a federally designated National Historic Landmark, and in the Commission's own words, one of the most important buildings in the Upper Montclair Historic District, Montclair Public Library's Bellevue Avenue branch is also one of the few public buildings in Montclair that's free, open, and accessible daily to all township residents for public programs, community meetings, and educational events. So such restoration projects and future planned infrastructure improvements are especially important for maintaining the building's continued accessibility and functionality. So thanks again for recognizing our efforts to preserve an iconic, treasured,
heavily utilized community resource.
I'm Steve Latenzio on behalf of Morse Associates, and we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my boss, Roger Morse, who couldn't be with us today, who did a lot of the groundwork for the library, and David Coe, who had also helped with the administration.
And as with any project that's a Montclair project, it was a labor of love for me, and it truly was a fascinating project because I understand now about austral windows. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is David Greenbaum. I'm a commissioner on the Montclair Historic Preservation Commission, and I did all my book reports in the Bellevue Public Library as a child. And I hope that swinging door in the back going down the steps is still there. And it's an absolutely wonderful institution in our town. Speaking of wonderful institutions and friends of wonderful institutions, I'm pleased to present the award for preservation services to the Friends of Anderson Park. Anderson Park is an oasis of greenery and tranquility adjoining the Upper Montclair Historic Business District. The Boonton-Greenwood Lake commuter train line and the residential areas of Oakcroft and North Mountain Avenue. An Olmsted-designed landscape gives Anderson Park a naturalistic setting with informal plantings and winding pathways. Scott Kevelson, president and founder of Friends of Anderson Park, a nonprofit conservancy, has worked tirelessly to promote the natural, cultural, historic, and educational qualities of the site. Their stewardship includes maintenance and replenishment of the original Olmsted plantings. Since 2006, they've planted 160 trees and 60 shrubs, including a rose bed in cooperation with the Essex County Parks. They host an annual Music Under the June Moon event, plus numerous educational incentives, such as the short story contest and art projects. Nominated to the state and national register in 2009, through the efforts of Lizanne Renner, Anderson Park, with Scott Kevelson at the helm, continues to surprise and invigorate the current residents of Montclair. And I'll add that I grew up playing lacrosse on those fields. My son's soccer team, which I coached, had practices on those fields, and my parents still enjoy strolling around the park every week. So it's an absolutely wonderful institution and absolutely a great model for our whole community of community involvement and support for preserving things that benefit the greater public good, and is a wonderful amenity for us all to enjoy. A second award we're prepared to share this evening is specifically for Lizanne Renner as preservationist. Lizanne Renner has shown a passion and commitment level to Montclair's history and preservation over many years. This includes special projects, including researching, compiling, and presenting the history of the Bellevue Theater, or through her Friends of Anderson Park ongoing community outreach, specifically annual historical walking tours of the Upper Montclair Village and Anderson Park. She regularly attends township meetings and community functions to further historic preservation and understanding and practice. She is one of Montclair's most ardent and dedicated advocates of historic preservation. I don't see anyone here, but or Scott.
No, she must have gotten caught up in the traffic. All right.
Well, we'll look forward to sharing this with them, and thank you all.
Our next award is also for a Preservationist of the Year, and it goes to Donato Di Geronimo. Mr. Di Geronimo is a board member of the Montclair History Center and is partnering with Montclair State University to preserve the diverse and varied histories of Montclair. He is a font of information about Montclair history from one corner of the town to the other, a booster of Montclair's history through his involvement and leadership in scores of civic committees over the years. Donnie is a homegrown historian helping to capture and make more widely known the multi-ethnic history that has made Montclair into a culturally rich community. Congratulations.
When I heard about this last week, I thought they were crazy, but now looking around the room, I'm looking at, and it's probably, I don't want to age anybody in here, but it's 27, 28 years. And I've worked with a bunch of people here, Adriana, Mary Krugman, Frank, now actually Kathleen recently, and the state, and Montclair History Center, which I love working with them because not only are they preserving homes in Montclair, but the history of Montclair, and now they're doing a lot of ethnic history, and I think it's great. And I just want to show one thing that kind of inspired me before I got here. This is a picture of in 1902 of this is the week that my grandmother and her family moved to Montclair from Newark, and it's still a great picture for me to look at. All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Two things. First and foremost, if I recall correctly from my years in Montclair, we could probably fill this room about 14 times with the DiGeronimo family, including a good portion of the fire department, if I'm not mistaken. We had just made an announcement awarding a special recognition for preservationist and also for the Preservation Service Award to Friends of Anderson Park, and another award to Lizanne Renner. We made the announcement, but Lizanne has just arrived, so I'd like to invite her up to receive her award. Thank you. And you're welcome if you'd like to speak. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Now, our last award is to Reverend Royal Shepherd Jr. This is a posthumous award. Mr. Shepherd passed away this year, but I remember him when I first came to Montclair 40 years ago, and I remember working with him many times at the Montclair History Center, and I'm very glad to see his daughter is here tonight. Dr. Shepherd, Mr. Shepherd will be recognized for his special contribution to the Township of Montclair. Mr. Shepherd was sworn in as Township Historian by the Town Council on July 23, 1996, and served in the role until 2004. During this time, he also served on the Montclair Historic Preservation Commission, beginning in 1999 and serving as Vice Chair of the Commission until 2002. He also served as a trustee for the Montclair Historical Society, now the Montclair History Center. Mr. Shepherd was born and raised in Montclair, loved the history of the township, and shared his knowledge of the history with many. In 2003, he published the book Montclair with his daughter, Elizabeth Shepherd. In addition, he provided contributions to the Montclair 125th Anniversary Book, Montclair 1868 to 1993, and Montclair Millennium Book 2000 to 2002. He also created the Montclair History Roundtable, a forum to discuss the township's history. He led walking tours, conducted presentations, and served as a regular contributor and historic verifier for the Montclair Times. Mr. Shepherd, as I said, passed away earlier this year, and the Montclair History Preservation Commission is proud to recognize his many significant contributions to the township's history. So, Elizabeth, would you please come up and accept this award in your dad's name?
Thank you very much. I don't feel like I'm going to break down and crying after that nice introduction, but he did a lot for the town, and he really enjoyed his years as a township historian and working with the commission. So we apparently really appreciate this award. Thank you.
So I would like to invite all the awardees to come up so we may take a group picture. And while we're assembling, I would just like to say that our tech who's filming this has actually put pictures up on the video that's being shown. So you'll be able to hear our wonderful introductions, your awards, and see the projects that you have have worked so hard on. And really, thank you so much. It's really very gratifying to have a room full of people that have the same spirit as all of us do. So I invite you to come up, please.